Okay, have coffee with me while I tell you about, oh, and my hair's dying. While I tell you about the time a lady in my complex, my apartment complex, almost her child, okay, and then tried to blame it on everybody, literally everybody in the complex, okay? Try to do this in 10 minutes before I have to go wash it out. So I lived in a small town in rural Utah where literally there was one street, two streets, one main street, and then one street that went to the highway that would lead you up to Salt Lake or down to Flagstaff. Okay. And there was these apartments, and I lived there for maybe about 6 months, before I finally was like, this is so not it. I have to get out of here. And this was like one of the tipping points. So there's apartment, in one building. I lived at the top one, and this woman lived down here with her disabled child and her daughter down here in this one. Well, I used to watch her daughter for her when she was like overwhelmed, because she was a mom of a disabled child, a young child who was disabled, and then she had her daughter, and she was by herself. Because the father was up in Salt Lake. And I really felt for her, and I wanted to just always help. So I was like, whenever you want, she can come up and play so you can have some time to yourself. Everything's good. Well, one day the mom comes and she's like, hey, can you watch her while I take him to the hospital? And sometimes this would happen, like if his feeding tube fell out and she had a hard time putting it back in, different things like that. So I was like, of course, and I already knew that her school bus came, so I knew to put her on the school bus in case the mom was like, just in case she might have to stay the night. And I was like, yes, like, like we help each other out. Of course, it's community. And so one day passes. Okay, I didn't hear anything. 2 days pass. Okay, I don't hear anything. Then I get a knock at the door. Okay, tell me why it's CPS. Tell me why it's the state. They come in and they're like, oh, we wanted, and this was, because I was about to call her. I was like, this is going on 2 days now. Like, maybe I need to know what's going on. Like, you can't just, ignore me. I need to call. But they came first before I could call. And they're like, hey, so we figured that you probably heard already about what's going on with, we'll just call her O. The girl downstairs, we'll just call her O. With O and her son. And I was like, actually,